Hey everybody, CVH here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about what the Elder Scrolls Legends needs. This is definitely not my normal type of video, not a gameplay video or a strategy video, but I was browsing the TESL subreddit recently and the thread popped up titled, "What does TESL need?" So I left a pretty long comment on there, and in today's video, kind of very similar to the video I did a couple weeks ago where I brainstormed potential card changes, I'm just going to be talking to you guys and brainstorming some potential changes to the game itself. Some of these will be related to the graphics, etc. I'll get into more detail on some of the points I made in the thread, paraphrasing some others, and what I'd like to ideally do here, because I know Bethesda keeps an ear to the ground as far as the community, the videos, I'm sure they've read the Reddit thread I'm talking about as well, but what I'd like to do in the comments here is sort of start a discussion. Let me know what you guys think about what I'm going to present in this video. Let me know if you think some of these are good changes, bad changes for any reason, and let me know your thoughts as well if I don't mention something you guys would like to see happen. But I think it's also important that we keep it positive, keep it productive. The idea here is that we're going to be thinking about ways TESL could improve. If you think something just sucks in the game currently, instead of just talking about whatever you think is bad, think about what could be done to improve it, because that's really the goal here, is to improve our experiences playing the game and improve the game so that more people could then enjoy it. So without further ado, let's get right into some of the things I talked about in the thread. The first point I'm going to make is the competitive scene, competitive play, tournaments in general, esports if you will, and I'm just going to briefly talk about this because it's sort of been beaten to death recently on various forums, Twitter, Twitch, the subreddit. There have been multiple threads. If you guys keep up to date with the subreddit at all, I'm sure you have seen and or participated in a couple of them, but basically this game will in fact need, and I think it will soon need, a competitive scene with some level of tournaments. I even mentioned this in the brainstorming changes video, I think, as well. So I'm only going to mention the fact that this should happen. As always, I think competitive play is pretty critical to card games currently in today's day and age in the market, and I think it's especially important for TESL because it's marketed itself so far as we are similar to Hearthstone but more skillful. And what better way to show skill and show the tests of skill than through tournaments themselves. I have no idea really what they're going to be planning for prize pools. I don't know what they're going to be planning for a tournament circuit, but it has been shown that they have been thinking about these things. Here's a link to Solid Age from Bethesda saying, "While I can't say just yet what we're planning for tournaments, there are some great ideas here," meaning the thread he posted it on, "and we've always said we're very excited for tournaments. We are planning to make a post about the competitive scene and our plans in the near future. Stay tuned." So without really knowing the details and the content of the post they are planning, I can't really go into too much detail, but I do think it's worth noting that other games such as Gwent are doing some pretty impressive things, to be honest, and Hearthstone for a long time has sort of set the standard in production value in huge tournaments. Say what you will about the meta or how skill intensive the game actually is, the fact of the matter is these two other games are putting some serious steps forward, and I hope Legends can follow suit. My next point is kind of tied into the competitive aspects of Legends. It actually relates to the Legend rank itself. As of right now, there aren't really any specific benefits to reaching Legend over rank 1. As you guys probably know, anyone from rank Legend to rank 4 gets reset to rank 5 at the following month, which means a lot of people just grind from 5 to 4 every month. You do get an extra copy, the third copy of the monthly reward card for reaching rank 1 or Legend, but besides that, reaching Legend instead of rank 1 just gives you a bit extra gold and soul gems. And even then, once you're at Legend, the only benefit to finishing a specific rank, as you guys know, there are thousands of people at Legend by the end of the month. The only real benefit to finishing at a certain rank is the top 100 list that is published that shows who finished in the top 100, which is pinned to the subreddit for a couple days and then sort of promptly forgotten about. There isn't really any official benefit outside of that. Recently, the TESL Champion Series has been running, at least they've done it once so far, one invitational with, I think it was a $500 prize pool, which invited the top 32 ladder finishers, but that is not officially run by Bethesda or Direwolf Digital. That is a community-run event. I'm talking about official rewards and benefits for finishing, first of all, at Legend instead of rank 1, and then at a specific Legend rank, because finishing top 100 and especially finishing top 32 in a pool of thousands of pretty high-level players is an impressive accomplishment that right now I don't think is being really aspired to by many people, because there's simply not a whole lot of reason besides personal pride. And personal pride is definitely enough to get me to do it, but I'm already playing a ton of this game because of the fact that I content create for it full-time, so that doesn't really apply to me, but the average player, they might need a pull there. And I think there are a lot of ways they could implement some pretty cool pulls, and a lot of them have to do with cosmetics. Now, we don't have card backs in this game. Obviously, Hearthstone's Legend card back is sought after by many first-time Legend grinders, but there are other things this game could do, such as avatar borders. I think I've seen this in Feria and Gwent at this point. We have a picture, For ourselves, it is the hero that gets attacked and everything. For other games, it's just your profile picture, I guess. But you could have specific borders, maybe premium borders, premium avatars themselves. These could have different designs around them to showcase the fact that, yes, I finished top 100, or yes, I finished at legend, or yes, I finished #1 legend on the ladder for a month, which is a really impressive achievement for anyone. Besides that, they could have different, I guess, designs on the game board. People have said that. I don't know if that could be implemented really, but I do like the avatar idea, the custom avatar, the premium borders, the different borders, and they could do something relating to the monthly cards themselves. As you guys know, I just mentioned the legend rank players get the same amount of copies as the rank 1 players, and that's awesome that you get a full playset of the cards for rank 1 or legend, but maybe you start giving away a premium copy of the monthly reward card if the player hits legend, and if they finish top 100 or top 50 or something, the full playset they get is the premium copy of the card. Because I know a lot of people, including myself, make the premium copies of the monthly reward cards eventually anyway, if the cards are good enough. I made premium Hisgrobes, recently Ulfric's Housecarl, but you know, since those exist and no one's getting them for free, maybe just give them to the highest ranked of the highest ranked legend players. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is going to be metagame related, more of the card design philosophy type of thing. And this does tie in, obviously, to a competitive scene, if it does eventually happen, and of course to the ladder, because I just talked about some legend rank rewards. But what I'm talking about here mostly is transparency, and this also ties into the competitive scene announcements in the first place. I think Bethesda and Direwolf Digital especially have been very, very good at communicating with the players, especially on the subreddit, very frequently. I don't feel like we've missed out on, or we've sort of wondered where they are at any point. I think they have done a good job of keeping us abreast of all the new changes and everything. But what I think we're lacking a bit in the communication realm is a bit of transparency. For example, the announcement I posted about the competitive scene, yes, we know an announcement is coming, but we sort of always knew an announcement of some sort was coming eventually. We still don't have any details whatsoever, and that's not really a big deal. I get they want to keep the details a secret until the official announcement, but this also ties into the card changes that have happened. Namely, this is really prevalent during the last batch of card changes, including Supreme Atromancer. I'm just going to use Atromancer as an example, because for a long time this card was complained about. Many months, it was finally nerfed in this patch. Many people are saying that it was nerfed at a time where it was finally seeing a decrease in play anyway. Regardless of how you feel about the nerf, a lot of people feel that the changes actually happened due to complaints in the community. Now, I asked a developer who happened to be in my stream, Merrick, and I was like, yeah, I was just talking about what if they actually nerfed cards based on complaints, and he definitely said they did not do that. But I get that it can feel that way sometimes if a card's been complained about, yet a lot of other people are saying it's not overpowered, it gets nerfed. They do an article that I will put on screen here a little bit to show you guys basically a bit of reasoning behind why they made these card changes, but what I think it lacks is the transparency of statistics. I think if they gave us really blatant information, like, for example, Supreme Atromancer, they could say something like, when a player played Supreme Atromancer on or before turn 9 in a game, they won X% of the time. Or X card was used in X% of decks, including its attribute or color, within legend rank during this time period, to show, without a doubt, without any sort of imagination, why these cards were a problem, why they were impacting the meta too much, or how they were deciding games too much if they were drawn and or played. And I'm pretty sure they have access to these statistics. It's the kind of statistics you would maybe see on the Data Reaper that's present at Hearthstone. They do meta snapshots based on that, not officially, of course, but if those guys have access to that kind of data in that game, I'm pretty sure the developers and Bethesda have access to that kind of data in this game, which is why they are nerfing cards in the first place. And I get a lot of the reasoning they give is for everyone to be able to read that article despite their level in the game and understand why they're nerfing cards to a basic degree, but I think a little bit more of an in-depth analysis would really assuage some of the fears that people have that they're just nerfing cards willy-nilly. The next thing I want to be talking about is actually in the client itself, so I'll be going into the game in just a minute to showcase what I'm talking about really, but bear in mind for this one I'm going to be explaining it kind of poorly. I am no developer by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm also sometimes bad with my words. So all that being said, why am I talking to you guys in a YouTube video in the first place? Hopefully you get what I'm talking about, but this is a developer, probably on the Direwolf Digital side of things. A lot of people have a lot of complaints about the interface, the UI. They say it's clunky, they say some things don't necessarily work properly, there are some bugs and some things that don't really seem too intuitive when you're clicking things on the board, and, well, not really on the board, but mostly in the client itself, in the different menus, basically. And the menu has seen a rework. I think it looks better now than it did before, the main menu, but things are basically just moved around. So what am I talking about? Let's go into the game. Alright, so here we are, we're going to be clicking around a bit. Let's click into Versus Arena. As you can see, it's kind of slow moving. Things pop up a bit slowly. For a real good example of what I'm talking about, let's click on the collection manager itself here. Let's go in here. As you can see, like the main menu, everything pops back up. It's kind of slow. Now, this definitely does not seem like, you guys probably watching like, oh wow, what a dumb complaint this is. But honestly, this kind of thing can add up to be pretty annoying. Even the page turning, it's kind of slow. The friends list, which I'm kind of blocking right now, it's loading a little bit slowly. I mean, you know, I have great internet. I'm over here streaming on this computer. You know, if I try to chat someone, so it'll pop up here, but in the game, sometimes if you receive a message, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, it will lag the game somewhat. If I build a new deck, this is a personal complaint that I had. I didn't even see this particular one on the Reddit thread I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean, look at this. And if I go to, let's say, page whatever we are, let's add a red card to this deck. Let's add an Orc Clan Shaman. It's going to reset me. It's going to just all of a sudden change the colors you see. And if I go over here, let's see, I go to, I don't know, let's go to page 3 and add a green card or something like that, page 2. It's going to do it again. It's going to make sure it only lets me see those cards. It's going to like move things around. It used to put you on page 1. Did it in fact just do that? No, it put me on page 2 again. But as you can see, like, it does sometimes take a while. And occasionally there was also a bug that existed for a while. I don't know if it still does. It might happen occasionally where you're editing a deck and it doesn't actually let you change some cards around. Like, you can click a lot of the cards in your deck, but some of them are not able to be removed. You have to go back out into the collection and re-enter the deck. It's happened to me a couple times on stream at least. Maybe you've seen it happen. Maybe you've seen it happen to yourself. But basically, my main complaints are what people have always really been saying, is that it's a little bit slow and clunky. You can even sort of see this when you're playing the game itself. The cards don't really move quickly. It's really hard to describe. So I'm just going to give you a comparison. I'm going to go into Gwent really and show you what I'm talking about when I mean sort of like the crispness or the lightness of the motions. So here we are in the Gwent menu. I just changed the volume somewhat, but as you can see, I can just go menu to menu. You see up top there, we're scrolling between multiplayer, single player, cards, and you might be saying to yourself, well, this is just because you're going left to right, but let's go ahead and click on the collection as soon as I find it again. Not a big Gwent player as of yet, so I'm going to try to do this correctly. But even on the loading screen here, there's something to keep your interest. So while there is a loading screen, you can see that it's not actually just a blank loading screen. It's actually keeping your interest. They show you the flavor text up there of cards. I'm not even really going to get into the premium quality of some of the cards in this game because that is something else entirely, but I do think it relates to polish. Hopefully we can see, probably not of this level. This is crazy to even, yeah, I mean, it's kind of nuts, right? But, you know, hopefully we can continue to see the premiums being polished. I think Heroes of Skyrim did a good job. But even if I scroll through the different classes or factions, as they're called in this game, it all happens relatively quickly. As you can see, there's no real wait time. I can basically move as fast as humanly possible. And as someone who likes to move fast and type fast, that is relevant to my enjoyment. And even the loading screen, again, it wasn't that big of a deal. And I think the layout is pretty good here. I'm not going to say the layout in Legends is bad. There's definitely a lot less to be laid out. But one thing I do want to highlight here is these social media icons. And this relates to my next point as well, which I'll get into in a minute. But as you can see here, if I go ahead and I click on, for example, the Twitter, it's going to immediately bring up in another browser the official Gwent Twitter. If I click, for example, the Twitch, it's going to immediately bring up in another tab the official CD Projekt Red Twitch. And that integration into the official client, well, if the Twitch wanted to load, maybe Twitch is having some problems again today. Hopefully not, because I'm going to stream in a couple hours. But as you can see, this integration, it seems really valuable. It gets the community knowing where to get involved, knowing where to communicate with the other people who share their passion for the game. And I think that would be really sweet to see in the client itself for Legends. And that brings me to my next point as well, which is, if I can click on it here, the icon leading to the official Gwent YouTube channel. Currently, there is no official Elder Scrolls Legends YouTube channel, despite there being a Bethesda Softworks YouTube channel. And if I were to check around here, it looks like it's well maintained. I'm a person who takes pride in my own YouTube channel. The thumbnails look nice. They're talking about hotfixes, social features, the competitive play that we just talked about, the giant open tournaments, they're doing coverage of those. I could make that a bit bigger for you guys, I suppose, but you get the idea, right? There's a lot of activity on this YouTube channel, even dating back to the very, very early days of the first announcement. It's not a crazy updated YouTube channel, but the important stuff is there in a good fashion and also organized into playlists. And again, it's worth noting this is the official Gwent YouTube channel, and they do have an official CD Projekt Red YouTube channel. I think I actually brought that up in a different tab, but here you go. You can see that the company has a YouTube channel like Bethesda Softworks does, but they're giving Gwent its own official channel. Same thing with Hearthstone. If I look up Hearthstone, it's going to take me to the official Hearthstone YouTube channel with 380,000 subscribers. And if I look up Blizzard Entertainment, there's going to be their separate YouTube channel, which actually has less subscribers than their Hearthstone channel. So it's giving the game room to breathe, basically. So let's go to the Bethesda YouTube channel and click around just a bit. That's the Gwent Twitter we just brought up earlier. Bethesda Softworks YouTube channel, you know, it has 1 million subscribers. I get it. It's a good base of support. But, you know, there are some different playlists here, one of which is the Elder Scrolls Legends playlist, but it's not really giving the game its own space, really, and I think that's important. I accidentally clicked on something. This is the Pete Hines and Charmer, and as you can see here, the problem with this is, or one of the problems here, as you can see, viewership in general on these videos is not high. I mean, 3,000 views. I get about that per video, and I definitely don't have 1 million subscribers, so I don't think they'd be losing a whole lot in viewership if they gave it its own YouTube channel. As you can see here on this live stream, the comments in general are not very positive. You know, I could read them to you, but I might as well not. You guys kind of get the idea. Everyone wants other kinds of things. They want the Elder Scrolls games. They don't want another card game. And if they do like card games, they think this game is worse than all the other ones. A lot of negativity that I think could be avoided and give the game a better appearance in the public eye if it were just on its own YouTube channel, so other people didn't feel robbed of their content, which I think is kind of stupid anyway. I think people who don't like the game could just not comment, not dislike, and ruin other people's enjoyment. But since we can't have a perfect universe with people who act normally, it would be best probably to give it its own YouTube channel. And for that matter, on the whole polish topic, we mentioned that a couple times already, just the polish of the YouTube thumbnails. I'm no expert in YouTube by any means. I just take pride in my channel, and I think we've done a pretty good job at creating some eye-catching thumbnails. I know personally when I moved from just straight-up screen grabs from the stream itself or the highlights or the videos from in the game to officially or separately made thumbnails that are designed to sort of show off the content with titles on the thumbnails, my viewership went up drastically. Might have been because of the game's popularity, might have been in part due to the thumbnail, but thumbnails are very important, and I'd like to see if they do an official channel, or even if they continue updating this one regularly with more content, maybe some more eye-catching thumbnails there. So that pretty much sums up the main points I wanted to get into. The final thing I'll touch on is just advertising, marketing, promotion. Again, I'm no marketing expert. I will say that if they do some of these other things, it'll sort of help the game, period, and act as marketing and advertising. For example, a giant competitive scene will garner a lot of interest. An official YouTube channel would probably garner some more interest. More integration with the social media would probably help the community become more interactive as well, and I think that's all definitely good for the game. More polish will help the game, of course, but once they do these special events, if they do a competitive scene, or post a YouTube video on an official channel, or they do the Bethesda streams like they have been doing, or bring back Direwolf Digital's developer streams even on their Twitch channel, which I think were great and should definitely return, and also tie into the transparency I was talking about, all of these events I think should be advertised way more than they have been, or, you know, if it's a competitive scene thing, not really at all. I don't really want to speak too much about past events, but they did something at PAX West 2016 and QuakeCon here in 2017 just last week, and without getting too much in depth, I don't think either of these events were as successful as the people who were watching, or the people who are participating, or the people who were organizing it were really hoping. I can't speak for them at all, but I think a lot of that ties into not many people knowing about these events' existence before the fact. And even the Bethesda streams, I don't think they're getting enough viewership. Speaking as someone who has way less followers than the official Bethesda channel, I frequently do beat the Bethesda stream in viewership. You could say that's because many of the followers of their official Twitch, like their official YouTube subscribers, are there for different kinds of games, but I think if they advertise these streams a bit more and just, you know, pull people to wanting to take part in these, it would do the game a big service. So those are basically my thoughts. Just to summarize again, I've talked about the official competitive support and tournaments in the future, some milestone for reaching Legend, cosmetic rewards, or something to really pull people into the ladder grind a little bit more, some transparency in regards to communication about future plans and their cards, buffing and nerfing, things like that, an official YouTube channel, along with some interface fixes and or things that are sped up or feeling more crisp. Again, can't really word that one right, but I'm looking forward to hearing you guys discuss it in the comments as well. And besides the official YouTube channel, a bit more of advertising and promotion for the game as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy my suggestions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, this brainstorming video, and I'm looking forward to starting the conversation and hearing what you guys think in the comments. As always, I think the goal with all of us here is to make this game as enjoyable as possible and keep enjoying it together as a community. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, and as always, if you've enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like and stay subscribed to the channel for more Legends content every day. Follow my stream in the description, and I'll see you guys next time.